few rules of the room. If you could, please state your name and affiliation so our athletes can recognize you. And as well, if you could please pass the mic after asking a question. That way we can get to as many media as possible, as well as our media joining us online. So this has been round 4 of Monster Energy AMA Supercross. It's my pleasure to introduce to you our podium this evening. Your overall winner tonight, Chase Sexton, P2, Cooper Webb, and P3, Ken Roxon. And we'll start out with you, Chase, back on top, and I believe unofficially, as of right now, the points lead. So to be back on top, talk about your sense of urgency that it appeared you had throughout tonight.
Yeah, the first 2 races, I really made it hard on myself. I got terrible starts, and then just made my life really difficult, especially in a short race. So the last main event, I got a good start finally when I needed it, and yeah, I feel like I rode really well tonight. Minus that one mistake where Eli got me. That kind of was a little thorn in my side. But other than that, it was a solid race, and pumped to get the overall. And, yeah, get the red plate back. It's fun. It's fun battling with Kenny and Coop, and it's just overall a good night of racing. But the track was really gnarly and dry, but, yeah, I had fun. So looking forward to Tampa.
Great work. We're going to open it up to questions from the media. Jamie.
Jamie Guido, Vital MX. Kenny, I want to go to you first. This track seemed to be one of the best racing tracks we've seen in a long time with a lot of options. Talk about, I believe you're the first to do the triple over the start. Just talk about the different options and risk versus reward on those options.
Yeah, on the rhythm side of things, the track was awesome, especially the one in the middle. There's a lot of different options to do, and obviously got more and more difficult here towards the end of the third main. I just was kind of buried in it, and I messed up the middle rhythm like literally 5 times or more, and that's what really cost me. And but on the other hand, not happy with the wall jumps into flat. My wrists and ankles are not happy. That was ridiculous, honestly. But yeah, no, it was overall a cool track. You kind of it was busy on one part of the track, and then you had the open area going back across the start straight and stuff like that. So overall, I did enjoy it, minus the wall jumps. Good racing today. Happy to be back on the podium. I feel like I botched that last main event, unfortunately, but in the end, was still stoked to be able to make the pass happen on Varsha and just be back up on the podium.
Jace.
Cooper Webb, this one's for you, mate. Jace, just tell us, congratulations up on the podium again. First of all, boys, that was an insane night of racing too. As a fan to be in the stands, that was absolutely incredible. Coop, I just want to ask you, I didn't have this question necessarily planned, but you get in the room after these races and you just get your 1,000-mile stare on. What's going on up there? Where both times that you've been on the box this year, you've come in with the exact same, just dead 1,000-mile stare. I just want to know, like, debrief it in your own mind. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, it's just we're finally unloading here, I guess, right? There's so much adrenaline and stress, and you're just wide open, and then you go straight to the podium, and you're excited. You know, it's just a lot. So it's like, at least for me, I get in here and I can take a deep breath, and anytime I'm in this room, it's a good night. So, like you said, just kind of just debriefing, going through things in my head, and yeah, just finally a chance to unwind.
And what is on the debrief tonight? What are you taking away? Initial thoughts?
It was a great night for me. Really was. Got that first main event win, which was great. And fought hard. That second one didn't have a good start. Fought hard. Last one fought hard. Like, my riding was finally really. I was happy with my riding for the first time all year. So, and yeah, we got rewarded well for it. So I'm stoked.
Adam, Track Talkers for Ken Roxon. In that second main event, you were blistering fast, and one of the big things that I noticed was you were quadding out before the whoops, or quadding in, and you were hitting the whoop section extremely fast. Was that a strong point for you? Was that something that you relied on during the race, or were there other spots that you knew you were faster? And next question, is Phoenix a great spot for you, and that's why you did good, or was it off-season?
Yeah, the first time I did that quad was in the race. I don't know if it was the first one or the second one. I think it's where I passed Chase. But no, I think it made the track flow a lot better. Doing that quad, and then the whoops were really hard pack, and you were able to carry so much speed, and you were able to just blip the throttle and stay straight as an arrow. So I really did like that spot. I did it in the last main event too. It just got a lot harder to do. the ruts exiting, you're kind of turning still, and it just was so choppy, right? But yeah, I did think that was the better option to do compared to the inside. I think the inside was really slow, and yeah, overall over the years, I think Glendale has been really good to me. And so when I come here, it's definitely a comforting feeling. But although I treat every single race the same. Like, I don't really come here thinking like, oh, this is my spot. Like, hell yeah, you know. And I think it's just important to keep it neutral. So I'm stoked to be back on the podium.
Johnny Hopper with MX Unfiltered. Cooper, this one's for you. You came out swinging that first one, and something you did surprised me. Were you planning on hitting that triple over the start in the sight lap?
Yeah, that was my plan. We had kind of debriefed it, and honestly, there was some big jumps tonight, like you guys alluded to, and I think it was one of those things the guys told me before if you want to do anything tonight, you got to jump these jumps. So just went out there and did them. Didn't have time to think about them, just did it, and I think that was a strong suit for me all night. I was really able to nail it all night. And, yeah, all the quads. That last quad in the one rhythm was really tough to get every lap, and I was able to do that consistently. And, yeah, it was, like someone said earlier, the risk versus reward was there, which was rewarding to be able to do those obstacles.
Scott
Yarjo, Moto Now. Kenny, you mentioned earlier the wall jumps to the flats. They actually had like a little roller before the finish line initially. Would you have preferred if they kept that in there?
100%. I think it was the worst idea to take that out because I jumped it in the first practice and you at least had somewhat of a landing, and then it got taken out and we jumped just as far, and it was a terrible idea, so I was pretty bummed about it.
Is there any consulting to riders about that?
Yeah, well, we did. It actually it kind of messed up my bike a little bit after every practice, and we did ask them like that this is a problem, and they just made the wall steeper, but it wasn't enough. It gets beat down, and you launch them anyways. Like, I would have preferred if they would just keep the roller there because it was safe, it was fine, and you had a little bit of a landing.
Alex.
Thanks. Yeah, Alex Gobert, MotoOnline.com. For Chase, when you're in a position to win the overall without one of the race wins on the night, what's the communication like during that final race of the night, and what's your kind of strategy during that? Is it just a matter of racing forward, or tell us what that's like?
Yeah, I didn't know where Jet and Kent were, but I knew Cooper and I were close on points as well. I knew if he got me, I would lose. So obviously the goal was to win the race, and then when I got passed by Eli, I was pushing, but I wasn't going to do anything stupid to kind of try and throw it away. So yeah, I knew where I was in my head. I kind of had the math down. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I kind of knew where I was at. So the speed was high. Eli was riding really well, and obviously Cooper was keeping me very honest in that third main, so I had to ride good and just try to keep it on two wheels and ride solid. I feel like I think I lost speed, and I think that was my slowest main event was the third one, but I got a good start. So it just goes to show that getting up front can make your life a lot easier, and try and do that more often this year.
Ryan Hitson with Cycle News for Kenny. That last race, you were talking about the battle with Barsha, but the whole race you were battling with Justin Hill and Barsha. Did you know that pass was for an overall podium, or were you just trying to improve any position?
Yeah, Justin was both of the Justins, I guess, were doing good. Hill kind of took me high a few times too, and I just couldn't. My biggest problem was just messing up some of the rhythms. I was trying to push through it, and I had to hit everything super perfect to be able to do it. So I was just trying to push through it a little bit too much sometimes, and I would clip the triple before going big over the big one over the start straight, and I messed it up so many times. So then I was yo-yoing and put in a lot of work to get close to him, and then he would get me so bad, and it just happened so many times. But I did get the message that we need Barsha. And then it was 2 laps to go or so, and I wanted it really, really bad. I wanted to get on the podium, so I just went as hard as I could for what the track gave me and what I personally could do, and it paid off.
Michael Antonovich with Course Heading. This will be for Chase. It's about 9:30 right now. We got here very early today because it was a stacked day with the SMX Next and K-Team Juniors, Triple Crown, all that. How is it for you to go out there and be mentally on all day? The charges that you had to do, about a minute-long lap time, and it's late tonight. How does this feel compared to the other 3?
Well, compared to last weekend, I feel superhuman because I felt like absolute crap last weekend. So my energy and stuff today was really good, and I felt like I was just kind of playing around and making jokes all day because the day is super long. Like after free practice, we had like a 2-hour break until next qualifying, and it's honestly, I feel like for the Triple Crowns especially, they throw in the Supercross Next and all that stuff on top of it. It's already a lot of riding on a lot of schedule in one day just to throw all that back on top, and I feel like they do that a lot. So I think it's too long of a day just to be at your A game from 10 o'clock in the morning till obviously, 9 o'clock, yeah, 10 to 10 basically. Obviously practice doesn't matter as much, but you still want to go out there and qualify good. You're locked in, and there's a lot of risks at hand too. So the days are very long. I think especially on the Triple Crowns, they could shorten them up, and even regular race days make them a little shorter so we're not here so long and kind of, maybe cut a practice. We don't need 3. We're pro, and at this point we're very seasoned, and we don't need 3 practices, I don't think. Like maybe 2 or something like that, but that's my little rant. I don't know. That's up to them.
Jamie.
Jamie, VitalMix. Chase, I want to go back to you. Ken said a minute ago he felt like the inside before the whoops was a little slower. You kind of laughed. And Lewis and I were talking during the race, like, why are they going inside? It did look slower with that pop. So tell us why you chose the inside and why you thought it was faster.
Well, the second race, I was doing the quad, and, actually, the first race, I saw Kenny jump, and I'm like, dude, did he really just jump that jump? I haven't seen anyone do it all day. And I'm like, gosh darn it, I'm going to have to do it. So I did it, and it was actually pretty easy in the first race, and then it kind of got harder. Second race, I was doing it, and Eli almost passed me a few times going to the inside. So the third race, the inside rut actually got pretty gnarly, and I actually missed the 3 second to last lap. So I probably should have went back to the outside. Even on-off, I went on-off on the first lap and passed Hunter in the whoops. I don't know what I was thinking. I went back to the inside like an idiot. So it was slow. It was faster in the second main, but it kind of went back to the outside for the last main.
Eli made a mistake right in front of you in that same corner. When you made it, you kind of got it.
Yeah.
He did too.
Yeah. Well, someone started an inside line and like blew the dust basically into like the choppy rut, and that's not a good recipe.
Sir.
Jim Kimball with Motocross Action. This one's for Cooper Webb. Cooper, I understand you kind of stayed out on the West Coast the week leading up to this. Talk about that for a minute. And secondly, as a 2-time champion, how deep is the field this year? How do you view that?
Yeah, I've been west since A1. You know, the star team. We've been out here, me, Hayden, and Justin Cooper, been at the Yamaha track and stuff like that. So it's been fun, but it's nice to get back home, get back east, get in that routine. And yeah, I mean, it's the gnarliest it's ever been by far. I think we all keep saying it. Everyone's on their A game. It's not easy by any means. So it's rewarding to be up here on these kind of nights for sure.
And before we turn it over to our online media, I do have an update for you on Jet Lawrence. This is coming from Honda HRC. Jet had jammed his knee, and it put him into a scare. So he is going to get an MRI, and they will go from there. That's all we know right now. So he jammed his knee. We're not sure on the status update. He will get an MRI soon to confirm what the status of his alleged injury is at this point. So until we know more, let's open it up to our online media, starting with Mitch Kendra.
Hey, Mitch Kendra with Race Rex here. My question's for Chase Sexton. Obviously, you guys are pushing back and forth really hard in qualifying. Just talk a bit about that battle and kind of navigating, finding the lines that are going to work later, but also getting in a good position because these starts on these Triple Crown races are so important.
Yeah, I mean, it's no secret. I like to qualify first if I can, and it's just a good way to start the day for me. I came off the track after third qualifying. I'm like, dude, there's no way he's gonna be doing something different because I wasn't in the turns and stuff. I felt like I rode pretty well and I nailed the rhythms. And then I go back and watch the Dartfish and the wall jump before or after the mechanics started, he was launching and I was losing a lot of time there. So picked that up for the race. And obviously you just find still little stuff like that in practice, especially when you're trying to qualify fast. It's a high intensity and yeah, for me it's just a good way to start the day. There's so many good. I mean, nowadays the ruts don't get. I mean, I guess tonight the ruts are a little bit gnarly off the gate, but they aren't too bad. And there's always like 3 or 4 good gates, I would say. So I just honestly, for me, qualifying fastest is nice, and try and get that speed back, obviously.
Brent Bowser.
Yeah, Brent Bowser, Whiskey Thermal Media. My question is for Kenny. Kenny, you've had a lot of success here at Glendale over the years. Tonight's track looked a little slicker and a lot just different compared to the years past. Explain it a little bit. Did it feel different? It just looked like you guys were kind of struggling with the front with stiff suspension on more of the high-speed parts of the track. Did the track feel different this year, or did it feel similar to the years past?
I honestly expected to go to track walk this today and them watering the crap out of it, honestly, and it was actually pretty dang dry even for a track walk, so I was a little bit surprised on that. And then, of course, for the Triple Crowns, like, it's just getting worse and worse. It was pretty, we always have that hard base, but it was very loose on top, and yeah, I think it was maybe even a little drier than some of the other years. I'm not 100% sure, but, hard pack's hard pack, really.
Nick Still.
Yeah, thank you. Nick Still with MotoOnline.com. This will be for Cooper. Cooper, reflecting on the end of the off-season, you alluded to an injury. Is that something you can now speak about with, the success we've been seeing, and then where you are percentage-wise leaving California?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard contractually. I'm trying not to get a pay deduction, so can't really speak about it, even though I'm racing. So anyway, yeah, it was tough at test track. Had a little get off, so it was not easy. But we made it to round one, and we're here, and everything is clicking. It's taken a little bit, and you got to be a little patient. But it's the sport, right? We're always battling something. So I'm excited to be on the podium again tonight. I feel like I said, was the first night I really could ride closer to my ability, which was good. And in general, I felt great all day. This is, as we know, a track I don't normally gel with. Super slippery, high speeds. The whoops were like concrete, and overall I had a really good night riding. So I'm super happy with everything. And yeah, it doesn't always go your way sometimes, but you just gotta keep chugging away.
That is all we have time for our premier class. So one more time at Chase Sexton, Cooper Webb, and Ken Roxon. And we'll go ahead and get started with our 250 overall top three: Jordan Smith, Hayden Deegan, Cole Davies. Starting out with you, Mr. Smith, this is not your first win, but this one has to be special, not just for you, but the manufacturers for Supercross win. Congratulations.
Yeah, very special, very cool to get Triumph's first win. They've been telling me there's a brick in the UK that has there's bricks that has a lot of their accomplishments on them, and there's one for the first win. So pretty cool to put my name on that, and very special, yeah.
Adam.
Adam Intignap, Track Talkers for Jordan Smith. We just talked about it, your first win. I noticed all day long that your bike was a little bit on the soft side, which I thought worked really good on this hard pack track. Was that something that contributed to this win tonight, or what kind of got you over that hump to get on top step of the podium?
Yeah, I think just in general, we've been getting better with the bike setup all year. Just learning at each race we go to. You can be very prepared, or you feel prepared at the practice track, but once you get on the racetracks, they're always different. So tonight, this track was even though it was really hard packed, it had more ruts than what we have seen at Anaheim and stuff in the turns. And yeah, it was my bike was handling really good. We made a lot of good changes for the whoops this year, or so far through 4 rounds. So feeling more like myself in those, and overall, just from where we started in October to where we're at now, it's just a huge shout out to everyone on the team. It's unreal.
Sir.
Jim Kimball with Motocross Action for Cole Davies. Cole, we talked on press day, and one of your goals was to get a win, to at least get a win this year. Doesn't this really kind of count as 2 wins?
I don't know, would you? I mean, it's not really the overall, but it's a couple of wins. I don't know. It's a good night. Step in the right direction, so yeah.
Jamie?
Jamie Guido, Vital MX. Hayden, obviously you come in every week wanting to win, take the points lead. A little bit of a struggle tonight, but the track was amazing, I felt, for racing. Did you find any struggles in it? Do you feel like you were pushing too hard, or are you happy with how you rode?
Yeah, I kind of feel like all day I was a little timid, like riding wise, just kind of, I don't know, maybe bike setup or maybe just me personally, but it was kind of start dependent, honestly. Like I got a bad start and it was kind of hard to pass out there because everyone was pretty much doing the same thing. Speed wise, everyone was really close today, so it was good though.
Michael Antonovich with Course Heading. This will be for Jordan. Again, a huge day for you guys all the way around, and you were in the mix the whole time, you know, from good qualifying laps and everything like that, to just be in the mix and then know consistency pays off, especially in the 250 class at a Triple Crown. How was today?
Yeah, it was good. Like you said, I had pretty good practice times. I was really struggling in the sand section in practice, and that's nothing new. I've been doing it a long time and can't figure out the sand section. So figured it out for the night show, and then the rhythm section after the whoops was struggling there in practice as well. And we figured out a different rhythm that I was able to nail every time in the mains, and it worked out good. I mean, my confidence on the starts has definitely went up this year. My bike's coming off the gate really good, so was feeling good with that coming into a Triple Crown. So, yeah, we really just executed everything we talked about all day with the starts and the rhythm and getting through the sand every lap without falling. So, yeah, it was just a good execution and working together as a team all day and executed it well.
Ryan.
Ryan Nitzen with Cycle News. My question's for Hayden. That second moto, you were absolutely sending it off the wall jump before the finish, and you were the first guy, I think, all day on the 250s to do the triple over the start straight. Can you take us through your decision on pulling that out in the middle of the race? And I don't think you did it in practice, right?
No, actually, there was a rider that did it in the first race, so I seen him do it, and I'm like, oh, I might as well pull it out. It may not be the brightest because you could maybe lose a rear wheel on that thing, exploded it, but, I mean, it worked. I made it and was making a little ground off of it, and then Cole started doing it, so we're kind of the same through there, but Cole rode good that race.
Alex?
Yeah, Alex Gobert, motoronline.com. For Cole, you were able to maintain your composure in those first 2 races, you know, under pressure. In that final race, you had that early incident. So first, can you speak about being able to hold on for the win in the opening 2 races? And then secondly, can you tell us what went through your mind on the opening lap of that, the final one when you were back in the pack at the rear?
Well, I mean, I felt good, you know. Won the first 2, and I mean, I felt good all day on the bike, even press day yesterday. Felt spunky on the bike, so you know, coming into the third one, I felt good, but then I got off to like a pretty shit start, and then. What'd I do? I landed on a tough block and I crashed. And then I managed to come back to 8th. I was way back, but yeah.
Scott.
Scott Yarjamoto now. Jordan, you were 2 points heading into that last race. When did you realize in the last race that you had the overall victory secured?
I wasn't 100% sure. I kind of was getting the vibe from my mechanic with the pit board the last few laps. He didn't like really say anything, but just from his facial expression kind of coming by, I thought that I may have been in position for it. I was trying to look at the board. I knew that I just needed to beat Hayden straight up, and then if Cole finished 4th and I won, then I would get it. So was trying to check the board, but I never really got a good look at it. So wasn't really sure until it came around the last lap, and he had it on the pit board. So it was pretty cool.
Looking for the other mic, Jace.
Hayden, mate, about 3 minutes to go in the last moto before the finish line on the wall jump. You scrubbed and sparks literally flew off your motorcycle. Was that extremely sketchy, or did that just feel like you really nailed that scrub?
Yeah, I don't know who I was passing. I just sent it off that thing. Like, I scrubbed it as hard as I could. It's just probably a really bad idea. And I remember just grabbing my foot peg off and just did the fattest endo, but just stayed in it, and it worked. So I was like, all right.
And Cole, real quick, mate, if you had Whittaker's for a podium, what do you have for the win?
Just more Whittaker's, I guess. I got the flavor wrong last time. The flavor is berry and biscuit. That's my go-to.
Did they hit you up for a deal? I saw him comment on the post.
Yeah, I got a package coming.
Excellent. Adam.
This question's for Hayden Deegan, Adam at Knapp Track Talkers. It looked like tonight in the first main event, I think you talked on about it at the podium, you weren't riding full all-out Hayden Deegan. Second moto, it looked like you stepped it up, and it was like, okay, we're ready for a win. And third moto, you didn't get the start that you wanted, and you rode solid. Is there ever going to be a Hayden Deegan that thinks, hey, I need these championship points, I don't need the win, or is it always just number one, number one, number one?
Yeah, that was the big thing today, is just not focusing on winning, the races, just being consistent and smart. And, we have a pretty big break after this, so you want to come in healthy to the next round, obviously. And then, after those first two, I knew the red plate holder was at a deficit. So I was like, in that last race, I was like, I'm not going to do anything that's super unnecessary. But I just, like I said all day, I just kind of, struggled with how I felt. And, that's going to happen at the professional level, and you can't always control the best. But obviously, we come out swinging in 3 weeks.
Great job.
Johnny?
Johnny Hopper with MX Unfiltered. Cole Davies, this one's for you. It's been really a pleasure to watch you excel early on in your career. You almost had a perfect night until that triple on the last race, and there was actually a red cross that came out. Was your bike okay? What was going through your head? Were you worried about the podium? Did you have to wait to be like, hey, I'm good, then accelerate? Can you walk us through it?
Well, Ryder landed, just clipped the tough block, and then it came across. It was in the middle of the track, and then I landed on it, and then I was like, bruh. And then I just had to, I knew I had to, at least get a podium or something, make my way back. And coming back to 8th was good. I was way back, so, yeah.
And I'm going to turn over to our online media, starting with Brent Bowser.
Yeah, Brent Bowser, Whiskey Throttle Media. My question's for Jordan. Jordan, you've been around for a while. Looking at these first 4 tracks through this season, they seem very technical compared to years past. Does it feel like the tracks this year have had a lot of opportunity for separation and just a lot more uniqueness compared to years past, or does it feel like normal?
Yeah, I would say the first 2 tracks felt a little bit more normal. These last 2 tracks, I think, have definitely had a lot more options, a lot more rhythms that were pretty technical to try and get every lap, which I like. That just gives opportunity for someone to make a mistake and try to make a pass on them. But overall, I don't really see a big difference in how they're building the tracks right now compared to years past.
Nick.
Yeah, thank you. Nick Steele, motoronline.com. For Jordan Smith, Jordan, you mentioned it on the podium there, that decision of leaving Star and people's thoughts. We're now 4 rounds into this. Can you reflect on how different it is, obviously with Triumph Factory Racing and the differences with the team?
Yeah, it's a lot of similarities. On both teams, we all expect to win. We put the work in to win. Everyone at Triumph Racing has won with other teams in the past, so it's a very good crew of people over there. From day one, whenever we got there, I would say we just kind of started with a clean slate on both of us. Myself, the team, the bike, everything. We just have really worked hard on each aspect of racing, the starts, the bike, my riding. Technique has been awesome. Training with Brownie, he's awesome. And it's like I said, there's a lot of similarities. We all show up to win every weekend, but just the teamwork that everyone puts in at Triumph is kind of unlike any other team that I've been on. Just everyone working really well together, doing their job, and each person trusting the other person to do their job.
And I do want to take a quick break and come back to the room. Jace?
Yeah, Cole, mate. I was talking to some of the crew back in NZ. Serious question this time. I was talking to some of the crew back in NZ, and there is such a buzz. They had the Woodville GP on the weekend, and everyone was talking about your first podium and your success. You've got the Townley brothers waiting in line, like Nico. You've got a couple other really, really, really talented young New Zealanders. Do you feel like you're maybe the first of this new wave? We obviously had Coppins, we had Townley, but do you feel like you're the kind of tip of the spear? And can you talk about maybe some of the kids from NZ that we might see here in the next few years?
Yeah, definitely. There's a bit of like a rough spot for New Zealand races coming up, so glad I'm able to, I guess, stop it. I mean, there's some good riders coming up. You know, I don't know if Brody's going to come over or something like that. You know, Brody's good. You know, Levi, Jagger, they're next. You know, Nico. There's a lot of them coming up, you know. Yeah, we'll just see what they do, I guess.
Jamie.
Jamie Guido, Vital Mix. Jordan Smith, break coming up for you guys. How important is that break for regrouping, resting the body, maybe changing some things on the bike, whatever, just getting ready to kick back off again in a few weeks?
Yeah, it's going to be good. We've been flying back and forth to Georgia every week, so doing those cross-country flights are pretty tough, especially with a 2-year-old. She gets a little off of time schedule, so yeah, it's pretty tough. But, yeah, it's going to be a good 2 weeks. We have more stuff to try on the bike that we think should be pretty good. So, yeah, hopefully we make some headway there and come into the next round in Arlington even stronger.
Yeah, these other boys don't know about the grind with a baby.
No, they don't. I mean, I was just thinking earlier after Cole beat me in the first 2 motos, I'm like, dude, last summer I was just every day he was riding in the car with me to Swanee's house to go do bike rides. I should have left him in this cabin a couple of times.
We got time for one more, Michael.
All right, Michael Antonovich, course heading. This is for Hayden. Last week on the TV broadcast, they talked about the youth that's coming into the 250 class, and it's awesome because there's a lot of teenagers. But then if you look at the flip side of it right now, the other thing that we talk about in the 450 class is dudes in their 30s still going at it. And you're surrounded by those guys with Cooper, with Eli, and then Christian. Do you want to be here in 10 years? Do you want to, run it that long? Because if the trend changes, you guys in the next generation have to keep pushing longer. You don't time out at 26.
Yeah, that's a hard question because it's like you don't want to take jabs at people for how long they've been in the class. But I don't know. I honestly I think the 250 class should have an age limit on it just so the younger generation has opportunity to get rides. And that's no jab at anybody. That's just my thought. But besides that, 450 class, I mean, if you're fit and healthy at an old age and you still can pull it off, I mean, why not?
Old age, Jordan. That's you, buddy.
Thank you, gentlemen. Jordan Smith, Hayden Deegan, Cole Davies, your 250 podium. And we still have one more group for you, the SMX Next top 3. So stick with us if you will. Okay, we'll go ahead and get started with our final podium of the evening. This is your SMX Next. Your winner tonight, Landon Gordon, Enzo Temmerman, and Landon Hartz.
Let's go, boys.
And we'll open it up with Johnny.
Johnny Hopper with MX Unfiltered. This is actually a question for the panel. How does it feel to be on the Supercross stadium floor and racing against 40,000 fans?
It feels like unreal, to be honest, because, as a kid racing growing up, that's where you always want to end up. And we're not in the pro class yet, but we're still on the floor in front of all the fans, so it feels pretty good.
Yeah, for sure. It's pretty surreal. And, yeah, I had a few experiences with it last year, but definitely didn't get as many as I wanted to. But, yeah, this stadium was definitely made you nervous, a lot of people.
Yeah, for sure. I was able to do one last year, and so it's pretty crazy to come out here this year and in this bigger stadium. You go around the sight lap and you're looking around and you're like, man, that's a lot of people. But it's pretty cool being up on the podium and being able to look around and see all those people cheering for you. It's pretty awesome, and I think it'll be really beneficial for when we get up into the pro ranks.
Ryan.
Ryan Itzen with Cycling News for Landon. Take us through your leading, and then they pulled the red flag to the restart. Take us through what you were thinking on when they lined you guys back up again.
Yeah, I was pretty nervous, but when they did the staggered start, gave me a bit more. I mean, I wasn't as nervous when they did that. I just knew I had to get away quick again, and yeah, I managed to do that well. And yeah, it was pretty good.
Jason?
Landon, I'll just stay with you, mate. You've done a few of these futures, and the SMX Next. You've done a few of these, and this was definitely like a show-out performance. I see you grinding at Parla, and when I watch you ride, I'm just like, man, this guy really looks like he's ready for that step, but it just hasn't gone that way so far in these races. Tonight was kind of maybe what some people would expect from you, like quite dominant in some of the rides tonight. I mean, what changed 12 months?
Yeah. The first few definitely weren't how I would have liked. Definitely very frustrating. But, yeah, I started working with Will Hahn, and we've made a lot of gains, as we could clearly see. But, yeah, stoked with where I'm at now. Feel a lot more confident with my bike. And, yeah, I think it'll be good.
Adam Intignap, Track Talkers for Enzo. You had a pretty big injury a year. I think it was about a year ago. How long ago was that?
December 2023.
So you're coming back off of a very big injury that I heard about, and you're here once again. Are you at 100%? And throughout the season, what can we expect from you moving forward?
I'd say my body's at 100% right now. Obviously, I haven't had a lot of bike time. Yeah, I had that big injury back in December, and then this last year, 8 out of the 12 months was off the bike and 4 months on the bike, and I actually just got back on the bike. So I've spent 4 weeks on the bike prepping for this, and so a little bike time, but feeling pretty good already, happy with where I'm at. So if we could just keep building, it should be pretty good.
Jeff Beaver, Whiskey Throttle Media. This is for Landon. Want to know, being a SoCal kid, tonight's track was kind of familiar with the hard base and loose on top. Do you have any plans for the future SMX Next rounds to go back east and start with some different soils and practice in ruts?
Yeah, that's a good one. That'd definitely be smart to do. Did that last year, but ended up getting injured right before Daytona. So, yeah, I definitely might have to do that again because the SoCal tracks compared to tonight were perfect training. But, yeah, I might need to switch it up for the East Coast rounds for sure.
Jamie.
Jamie Guida, Vital MX, Landon Hart's. Similar question. How did the track break down on a race night compared to what you're used to practicing in, where all the guys pretty much stay in one line? There's generally not a lot of mixing it up.
Yeah, for sure. It broke down. It was definitely different. I've spent my last month at Moto Sandbox training with Brandon Hartranef, so I'm used to the nice, soft, loamy soil. So you come here over on the West Coast, and it's definitely a harder base. You know, I went out for my last qualifier, qualifying 2, and I was pretty blindsided, to be honest. I wasn't expecting it to be as hard and as much of a slick base, but I was able to fine-tune it a little bit and just tweak a couple things and really just be able to come out for the night show swinging.
Over here, do we have lost my mic, Johnny?
Johnny Hopper. Landon, this one's for you. So watching qualifying, you guys go out there like it's a main event. Is that something that we need to look forward to as you guys move into the pro ranks?
Yeah, definitely. We're out there. I feel like we think we're out there racing every time just because we're young and we're pretty antsy. But, yeah, definitely might need to just start taking it easier too. I feel like with me, I could definitely work on getting more laps in and not just focusing on a heater. But definitely something to work on with that.
Michael Antonovich with Course Heading. This will be for you, Landon. You know, we talk about the SMX Next stuff, and it gets you guys a chance to see the program and the tracks and all that. But you work with Will Hahn. You're a Team Green kid. When you work with the program that knows how to do this, what is the most important thing that they try to reiterate to you every single time you show up to the track?
Working with Colt Nichols as well. He definitely keeps me in my place, and we really work on just having a good attitude every day, and just going about every day with just a good mindset, and just the big thing we've been working on is probably what Will's been helping me a lot with is just cutting everything out and just focusing on my riding. That's been the biggest thing for me, so I'm happy.
Adam, Track Talkers. This one's for Landon Gordon. I know your brother races, and this is his first year, Revin Gordon. He actually just got hurt, but he's been doing pretty good. How has that helped you, and how have you helped your brother?
We definitely help each other throughout every day, and just being brothers too, just that every day, pushing each other to be better. He's definitely not where he wants to be right now, but we'll get there with him, and we'll keep pushing.
And we're going to come back to the room if time allows, but I want to give the opportunity to our online media here, starting with Justin.
Yeah, thanks. Justin Schuler with Athlon Sports. This is for Landon Hart. So we asked the other two kind of what they've been doing for the last 12 to 24 months. I want to give you a chance to answer that as well, because I believe you only have one other futures race, and that was at Foxborough last year. So again, just similar question for you. What have you been doing over the last 10 months to go from a good top 10 finish to now up here on the podium?
I was in B class last year, and I went to Foxborough to do the SMX futures, and it was good for me because I was able to build and learn a lot, and I think that really carried into this year. I was able to get that first one out of the way and kind of the nerves out, and it was good. I've been like I said earlier, I've been at Moto Sandbox the past month. I've been training really hard, and I think that showed tonight. I'm pretty happy with my progress, and to come out with a third for the first round for sure. So I really think the past 10 months have been pretty good, and I think getting that first one out of the way and under my belt last year was good for me.
Mitch.
Thanks. Congrats.
Hey, Mitch Kendra with Racer X. We'll stick with Landon Hart here for this one. So there's some different components to this program aside from just the racing. What was your biggest takeaway off the track? I know we have meetings and the schedules and learning with YAMA and everything. What's the biggest thing you've learned off the track from this weekend?
Honestly, with this program, I feel like it kind of keeps you on your toes a little bit. The pros don't have 2 free practices or anything, so you come off from your last free practice and you're trying to sign autographs for people that are all in the pits. You have lines. People are trying to get your autograph, and you've only got a couple minutes to spare. So it's pretty good. You really have to stay calm, and that teaches you that. So off the track, I definitely say you got to stay in tune, and you have to stay focused and just really block out everything else. And I think that this program does really good for that.
Nick?
Yeah, thank you. Nick Still, MotoOnline.com. This will be for the three of you. You guys would have just sat there and watched the 250 West press conference and, filled with riders that have been in this program, this class before. It has to give you almost a sense of excitement for the three of you to go, hey, I'm going to be next. I'm going to be the next people sitting up there. Just talk about that and then, the gateway this is doing for the sport.
Yeah, for sure. It's cool seeing all the top 250 guys up here. And then we're up here doing the same thing, and just bridges the gap from amateur to pro. You get a little taste of what it's like to do the pro races, and then when you go into the pros, you're not as lost, I guess you'd say.
Forgive me, sir, I don't have your name, but your affiliation, Winners Take All?
Hey, Nick Blackman, Winners Take All. This question is for Jordan, and it kind of piggybacks on Nick's question. Watching and seeing Cole Davies run up front like he did this whole year so far, and just does that give you motivation? Does that give you confidence going into, for the rest of this year and beginning next year?
Can you
For Landon.
Landon. Yeah. Which one? Can you please specify?
Landon, yes, I'm sorry.
I'm
Yes,
so
you're winner
sorry.
second.
I wasn't really paying attention because I thought this question was for someone else. But
No, not an issue at all. I was just saying, watching Cole Davies run up front this year, where you guys were, he was exactly where you are 12 months ago. Just what kind of motivation and confidence does that give you moving forward?
yeah, for sure. Seeing Cole's progress is, I'm sure we're all shocked by it. It's been pretty surreal, and hats off to him. And yeah, it is pretty cool to be in the same spot, and yeah, to think that's where he is now is, yeah, it gives you a lot of confidence.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. That's all we have time for this evening. Landon Gordon, Enzo Temmerman, and Landon Hartz. This is SMX Next. Thank you all for joining us. This has been round 4 of Monster Energy AMA Supercross and the Super Motocross World Championship. We'll see you next weekend, round 5 in Tampa, Florida.